It was a chilly October afternoon in the small town of Willow Creek, the kind of town where everyone seemed to know everyone, or at least thought they did. Officer Daniel Brooks was sipping lukewarm coffee in his patrol car when he noticed a tiny figure running toward him from the corner of Maple and Fifth. Her little legs moved fast, her ponytail bouncing, and tears streaked down her dirt-smudged cheeks. She couldn't have been older than 7. She was gasping for air, clutching her small backpack tight against her chest. When she finally reached the police car, she cried out between sobs, "Please, officer, please follow me home. Something's wrong with my mommy." That single sentence, trembling, desperate, and pure, changed everything that day. Before we dive deeper into this emotional story of love, courage, and unexpected kindness, please take a moment to subscribe to Whispers of Goodness. We share true and inspiring stories that remind us all how powerful a single act of compassion can be. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video if it touches your heart, because spreading kindness begins with you. Officer Brooks didn't hesitate. He put down his coffee, radioed in, and told the girl, "Hop in, sweetheart. Show me the way." The little girl, whose name he soon learned was Emily, climbed into the front seat, still trembling. Her voice was shaky as she pointed toward a row of old houses on Birch Street. "My mommy fell. She's not waking up." When they reached her home, the scene broke his heart. The front door was wide open, and inside, the house was dimly lit, cluttered with toys and papers. On the living room floor lay a woman, Emily's mother, pale and motionless. Brooks rushed in, checking her pulse. She was breathing, but barely. He quickly called for medical backup. Emily stood in the doorway, hugging herself, her eyes wide and scared. "Is my mommy gonna die?" she whispered. Brooks knelt down beside her. "She's in trouble, but you did the right thing, Emily. You saved her life by getting help." That small reassurance made her eyes fill with fresh tears, this time, not from fear, but from relief that the paramedics arrived and worked swiftly, taking Emily's mom to the hospital. Brooks followed behind, making sure Emily didn't have to face this alone. At the hospital, doctors discovered that her mother had collapsed from exhaustion and malnutrition. She'd been working 2 jobs, barely eating, trying to keep up with rent and bills while raising Emily on her own. Emily's father had left 2 years ago, and since then, her mother, Laura, had been doing everything she could to provide, skipping meals so Emily could eat, sleeping only a few hours a night. It was too much. Her body had finally given out. Officer Brooks stood quietly in the hospital hallway, listening to the doctors talk. His heart sank. He saw this kind of story too often, hard-working single parents trying to survive, unnoticed by the world until tragedy struck. When Emily came up to him holding a small stuffed bunny, she asked softly, "Can my mommy come home soon?" He knelt again, meeting her eyes. "She needs some rest, sweetheart. But she'll be okay. And you're very brave." That night, after dropping Emily off with a neighbor, Brooks couldn't shake the image of that little girl's tear-streaked face. Something in him stirred. Maybe it was because he'd grown up in a rough home himself, or maybe it was simply the human heart refusing to look away. The next morning, he stopped by the hospital again. Laura was awake but weak, her eyes tired and filled with worry. "Thank you," she said, her voice barely audible. "If Emily hadn't found you," Brooks smiled softly. "She's quite the hero. But tell me, Laura, do you have anyone to help you right now?" She shook her head. "No. It's just us." He hesitated, then asked, "Would it be okay if I got a few folks together to lend a hand? Just until you're back on your feet?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I don't want charity." He shook his head. "It's not charity. It's kindness. And everyone deserves a little of that once in a while." Later that week, Brooks told a few friends in town what had happened to the grocery store clerk, the local diner owner, even the fire department guys. Word spread fast, and before long, people began asking what they could do. One woman offered to bring home-cooked meals. A mechanic offered to fix Laura's old car for free. The local elementary school started a small fundraiser to help cover medical bills, and then, something beautiful happened. Neighbors who barely knew each other began working together. A carpenter repaired the broken steps on Laura's porch. A retired teacher offered to tutor Emily after school. Someone even slipped an anonymous envelope of cash into Officer Brooks's mailbox, addressed simply to the little girl with the brave heart. When Brooks delivered it, Emily hugged him tightly and said, "Mommy says good people are like angels you can see." He smiled. Your mommy's right. Weeks went by, and the small house on Birch Street slowly came back to life. There were flowers in the window now, laughter in the air, and fresh paint on the front door. Laura had recovered enough to start working part-time again, but this time, she wasn't doing it alone. The community had wrapped its arms around her family, not out of pity, but out of shared humanity. Every casserole dropped off, every small donation, every smile from a neighbor reminded Laura and Emily that kindness still existed in the world. Officer Brooks often stopped by, usually with donuts for Emily and coffee for Laura. One evening, as he watched them sitting together on the porch, he thought about how easily their story could have ended in heartbreak. But instead, it had become a reminder that compassion could turn strangers into family. Months later, on Thanksgiving, the town gathered for a community dinner at the fire station. It was something they hadn't done in years, but after what happened with Laura and Emily, people wanted to celebrate the power of coming together. As everyone shared food and laughter, Emily stood up on a small chair, clutching her stuffed bunny, and said loudly, "Thank you for helping my mommy. You're all my friends now." The room erupted in smiles and applause. Even the toughest-looking firefighters had tears in their eyes. Officer Brooks laughed, ruffling Emily's hair. "Looks like you're the star of the show, kiddo." She grinned. "You helped us first. So you're the biggest hero." He shook his head. "No, Emily. You are. You reminded all of us what kindness looks like." That night, as snow began to fall softly outside, Laura approached Brooks with a small envelope. Inside was a handwritten note that read, "For the kindness you showed when we had nothing, we'll never forget. You didn't just save my life, you saved my faith in people." Brooks didn't say anything. He just smiled, eyes glistening, as he looked around the crowded hall. Neighbors talking, kids playing, people helping one another without asking for anything in return. It was clear. One frightened little girl's cry for help had brought a whole community back to life. Kindness doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's a whisper, a child running for help, a neighbor knocking on your door, a stranger refusing to look away. It starts small, but it grows, and before you know it, it changes everything. But if you ever doubt that the world can still be good, just remember Emily, the little girl who ran to a police officer crying for her mama, and the town that decided kindness was worth fighting for. This is what we believe in at Whispers of Goodness, because kindness isn't rare, it's just waiting for someone, like you, to pass it on. So, if this story touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share this video. You never know who might need a reminder that goodness still lives in the world. And remember, even the smallest act of kindness can echo forever.